Castillon Confidencial by Albert Castillon. Bienvenidos. Welcome, insiders. Thank you for being here. Strength, honor, and let's move forward because we're here to tell you what others don't tell you. Thank you for keeping this channel alive on the way to 400,000 subscribers. Friends from the rest of the world, a hug. Spaniards around the world, thank you for staying informed through this. Better than doing it on Channel 1 or on La Sexta or on all of them. Thank you for being there. Look, we win battles. We are much better off now than we were 2 or 3 years ago. But the war is not won yet, and we can't let our guard down for even a minute. Maria Jose, a true Ceuta native, told us this just 24 hours ago. She told us what the people of Ceuta see every day and have been seeing for years. Because in Ceuta, everyone knows everything. Everyone knows each other. And if something happens, it eventually becomes known. Listen to what Maria Jose said about the constant visits the King of Morocco makes by land and by sea. Yes, to Ceuta.
But anyway, I don't understand why we have to be so considerate. Just so the monarch of the Kingdom of Morocco doesn't get upset?
When the monarch of the Kingdom of Morocco treats territorial waters like they mean nothing just because he felt like taking his boat out,
and starts fishing just because he decided to go out on his yacht,
and he goes by and leaves the civil guards who tried to stop him completely stunned. And that actually happened.
He used to come here a lot before.
I don't care. I'm going to say it. To the Ceuta casino, I mean, it's no big deal.
The king, who is the monarch of the neighboring country, can come. He doesn't bother anyone.
he can come to our city, but our king can't go to his country, to his territory, to his home. They can't move.
It's common knowledge. We had heard about it, and many people have seen him. For example, in this place you're seeing now. This is the Ceuta casino. When the king goes, the king of Morocco, of course, our king isn't allowed to go. When he goes to play at the Ceuta casino, well, he has a look similar to what you're about to see now. And I can assure you, he goes with sunglasses and a security detail. He always has security with him and some friends because he never goes alone. Sometimes he goes unnoticed. And it's the casino workers who leak the information because they have much closer access to him for several hours. What is the king of Morocco doing gambling in a casino in Spain? You'd have to ask him that. But he comes and goes from Ceuta. Whenever he feels like it, whenever it suits him. And with the knowledge of the Spanish authorities, at least the border officials are notified of those visits. There is constant communication between the security teams at the border in Ceuta and Melilla from Morocco and from Spain. Some of them have known each other very well for years. Even though we are enemy and neighboring countries, the security teams get along very well. Don't forget the head of Moroccan intelligence, Tamuchi, the one who ordered the installation of Pegasus, spends his summers in Marbella like a king. He feels right at home. And the Director General of the Spanish National Police, Francisco Pardo, spends his time in Asila in Morocco. As you can see, nothing happens here. If there's a need to cooperate, they cooperate. And when the king of Morocco crosses the border to do whatever he wants, for example, to go to the casino and gamble a few thousand euros, well, they know it's going to happen and they make sure nothing happens to him. Curious, isn't it? That ours isn't even allowed to talk about Ceuta. Not only by land, also by sea. Look, this sailboat is one of the 10 most expensive sailboats in the world. According to reports, it cost nearly $100 million. It's called Badi's Eye, and it's owned by the King of Morocco. He has many more sailboats and yachts, but this is his favorite for traveling around Ceuta. You're seeing some of its most luxurious rooms. We're talking about 70 meters in length, 13 meters in beam, something impressive. Mohammed has, according to Forbes, a fortune of more than $5.7 billion and 12 palaces at his disposal. Although one of his favorites is in the town of El Rincon. What you're seeing is El Rincon. It's 25 kilometers from Ceuta. There, these wonderful sailboat docks, and he takes a speedboat. You're seeing it. He sometimes drives it himself with his escort, with all the proper protection, and he approaches the coast of Ceuta to swim. He even has a space to do it. Not far from the coast, next to some cliffs, you're seeing that platform. That private dock, where on that platform His Majesty Mohammed VI swims, alone, at ease, and away from prying eyes. He can. Our kingdom. Mohammed VI can go to Ceuta by land, sea, and air whenever he wants. Felipe VI has not been able to set foot in Ceuta or Melilla, neither as a prince nor as a king. Mariano Rajoy didn't let him. Pedro Sanchez didn't let him either. The last one who set foot in Ceuta and Melilla was Zapatero, and he went alone. Not with the king accompanying him so that his dear friend Mohammed wouldn't be upset. Rajoy visited Ceuta and Melilla twice in 2010. He wasn't prime minister yet. And then in 2018, they tell us that King Felipe wanted to accompany him, and Rajoy thought it wasn't appropriate. Well, not him, his advisors. Rajoy didn't decide much. He did what he was told. This is the reality. There are two kings, yes, in two neighboring states, yes. And there's the paradox that the enemy king can come to our country, but ours can't even set foot in his own. Welcome. We investigate. Gentlemen, we told you that the almost 5 weeks of vacation that Sanchez spent in La Mareta were not just for vacation. He has taken trips. We'll tell you more later. He has moved around, visited people, and above all, he has made plans for the future, which is what he does when his mind starts scheming in the best Machiavellian style. Trying to stay in power, which is his only goal. One of them, as you well know, is the grandchildren law. Also the mass regularization, also the movement in Ceuta, the invasion we've been updating you about. Attention. Because everything is being prepared so that Correos can help again. To carry out an alleged electoral fraud, an alleged rigging in the upcoming elections. Attention, an alleged one. And Correos already lied in 2023. Today we can say it openly. Correos lied about the data it gave to the Transparency Council. It gave false information about the votes from July 23rd. Today we know almost everything. Gabriel Araujo, computer forensics expert who has been fighting this fraud for years. Welcome.
How are you? Greetings to all the confidenciales, Alberto.
What did Correos lie about?
Well, not only in this case that I posted about on my tweet regarding a transparency decision from a citizen who requested information about how the votes are kept, they have blatantly lied about the number of votes, even about the location. I can understand that for security reasons, like not revealing where the votes are being kept. But what makes no sense at all is lying about the number. But I already knew that Correos was lying because I remember seeing that Correos lied to me. When the Ley 10 case came up, I asked Correos' transparency office, what role did Ley 10 play at the electoral level? And they denied any involvement of the PSOE's fixer in the electoral system. And this was already my first clear proof that Correos was lying about the electoral issue.
In other words, this citizen who asked for explanations was not told how many votes were being safeguarded, in which places, or what security measures each vote had. They did not provide any information about the safeguarding of the vote. I remember that you did, and you told me about a complaint that was actually investigated by the civil guard. It was in Albaida de Al Jarafe, right?
Exactly, yes. Well, it's not that they didn't give the information, it's that they gave made up information. This is the problem, that Correos made it up. And on June 16th, thanks to that Transparency Council, thanks to that resolution, it became possible to access the truth. But it means that in November 2025, when this case was brought up to find out what happened with ballot custody for the July 23rd election, it was discovered that Correos had made up all the numbers. What you were talking about Albaicin, Albaida Al Jarafe, which is indeed an investigation that the civil guard itself confirmed that 46% of the votes processed in that post office had been manipulated in favor of the PSOE. Is that objective fact really serious? And even if it had happened in the 2019 municipal elections, not in the July 23rd election, it does prove that this has been going on for a long time. So this is the fraud and the manipulation of votes. This has been happening at Correos for a very long time. And this is the worrying fact. And the other worrying fact is whether in that office, the coordinator of Izquierda Unida was the one who reported that fraud in Albaida de Al Jarafe, right? That Clemente Franco, the coordinator of Izquierda Unida, was the one who reported that fraud. What would have happened if in the other offices the UCO had also investigated, if the civil guard had investigated the rigging of those votes? How many votes would have been manipulated as well? That's the question we're asking, right?
Well, the question is why it wasn't done. If in one office 46 was manipulated in favor of the PSOE, why wasn't it done in more? Nobody asked for it. I'm sure they did.
There are many complaints we already know to Albert from us. I have made several expert reports regarding all the irregularities regarding the counts, both in Madrid and in Asturias, in Segovia, in Malaga. And anyway, all that evidence that was sent to me has been filed away because, of course, it's the same judges who do the counting that later handle these kinds of complaints. The electoral situation Spanish citizens have to face amid all these irregularities is really appalling.
The Postal Service lying, falsifying data when it's been investigated. There's been vote manipulation, but nobody wants to look into it. And Judge Pedras has ordered, in the Leire Diaz case, the PSOE's fixer to extract again the phone data of the former president of the Postal Service and former chief of staff to Sanchez, Juanma Serrano. Why? Because according to the UCO, there are over 9,000 messages, WhatsApp messages between Juanma Serrano and Leire Diaz, and 1,000 more through Signal, another messaging company. In total, 10,000 messages covering the election period.
This could be explosive.
Exactly. This procedure that was already carried out on May 27th and 28th of this year is very important. When the civil guard seized the mobile phone of Juan Manuel Serrano, which is an iPhone 15 Pro Max, and well, at that moment, what was done was to subject it to that forensic tool. What is normally done is cloning the device and working on the clone, never on the original. Surprisingly, this procedure has been challenged by the legal team of Juan Manuel Serrano, saying that since the lawyer was not present, it was not valid. Well, what Petra said is, well, then we'll do it again. But the important thing here, Albert, is that the phone has been in custody. That means there was no possibility since May for Serrano to delete any kind of message during this period. So that's why Pedro said, well, no problem, we'll do it. It was done yesterday at 10:30 in the morning. Mr. Juan Manuel Serrano's legal representative was summoned, and in his presence, they did that second extraction. But really, that's really just another procedure meant to distract, because that extraction takes between 8 and 9 hours. I mean, I imagine the lawyer there just watching the numbers and files go by without understanding what's being done. So it's really more of a procedural maneuver to delay things. And yes, it's important. Yes, this is important because that's where it can really happen, besides what you're saying about all this arrangement, about how. In November 2021, that position at Correos was arranged for Leyda Diaz. Even Jose Luis Perez, the Deputy Secretary of Correos, sent her a message. And this is in the civil guard investigation, in the investigations. He took it, he sent the contract so that Leyda Diaz could arrange it for her own profile. We're going to be able to. It could be found in that second dump.
A very compromising one. It's even from Pedro Sanchez, right?
Of course. And what if someone gets the order to cook the results in this or that province? The order would allegedly be received by Juanma Serrano from Sanchez or the presidency, and he would pass it on to Leire, who was the one managing the offices on July 23rd.
Exactly. Let's remember one of the messages says, I already control the philately department too. When you read in March 2022 that she was promoted, I mean, she joined in November 2021, and by March, there was already a restructuring and she was already promoted. And she sent a message to Sanchez saying, I already control the philately department too. Also, this is very important. Yes, that little word.
It's an absolute mafia, gentlemen. We've been denouncing electoral fraud for years, and no one investigates it thoroughly.
Meanwhile, Alvarez, the minister for everything, the foreign affairs minister, has doubled the contract with the courier company DHL, more than 5 million.
Because a flood of mail in votes is expected in the upcoming general elections.
This is the plan, right? The one you were telling me about.
Exactly. That's right. It's 2.5 million new nationalities, naturalizations. Let's remember the grandchildren law. There are 1.2 million just in Argentina, which accounts for 40% of the applications from all over the world. And I just got the latest information regarding the processed applications. More than 500,000 have already been granted.
500,000 is the official figure as of June this year that has been published. So it's not like some people are saying out there about 30 or 40,000 applications as if nothing were happening here. No, there are already more than 500,000. There are already more than 500,000.
There's still all the rest. Those almost 2 million applications, which I'm sure by 2027, as these services are being hired and expanded, will also be processed. It's very clear.
It's curious. The PSOE is campaigning in Argentina, in Chile, in all the countries, trying to get people to vote for them. Has the PP sent anyone?
As far as we know, no, nobody, they haven't sent anyone. Well, maybe they'll go later during the campaign and all. But anyway, there's no one there. Only the socialist representatives are there campaigning. Let's remember that the general secretary herself, Lorena Suarez, admitted that she would go to the lines where people were processing their passports to campaign for votes in favor of the PSOE, which is completely legal. We're not saying that the PP or Vox have to do the same. Simply make sure that no campaigning is done. That trick shouldn't be used because that's clearly cheating.
Are you still suspicious, Gabriel, thinking that the grandchildren law doesn't care who they vote for, just that they vote? And then supposedly their voting intention will be changed later? I mean,
That even if the 2.5 million voted for the PP, the result would be that the PSOE wins, like what happened with the regional elections all over Spain last year, right?
I keep saying that with the particular Spanish electoral system, nobody actually needs to win to govern. You just need to cobble together enough support with inflated votes for certain parties to make an investiture pact possible. Therefore, it's simply about doing that calculation, that algorithm, to see how many votes are needed in each province to try to achieve that investiture agreement, or to achieve it with the smallest number of parties. We've already said that in 16 provinces with less than 3, the last seat goes to a certain party. So it's simply about acquiring those new nationalities in certain provinces
you can already secure that last seat, and Sanchez could easily do without Junts or any other awkward coalition partner, right?
Incredible. And at the same time, boost all those who have supported him and start. Exactly. So that they get better results, just in case the PSOE doesn't manage to get the final result with the fraud scheme we've been talking about, right?
Exactly. That's how it is. I think people should. I mean, you asked if I was suspicious. I think the whole Spanish society is suspicious about this issue thanks to your coverage as well. Seeing your awareness and the way you raise awareness about this extremely important issue, where the foundation of democracy really is the matter of vote. There's nothing else, because after that, all the policies become meaningless if it's not truly verified that each of the seats is legitimate. In the Congress of Deputies is backed by solid and verifiable evidence. And in the case of the Spanish electoral system, this condition is not met. And this is the only country in the world where this happened.
Look, no other country in the world, I always try to repeat it, no country in the world has its electoral system managed by its own government. This is really a scandal. The Central Electoral Board is not an independent body.
Its office is inside the Congress of Deputies, and therefore it's susceptible to political influence. There isn't an independent fourth electoral branch like there is in every other country. Here we've gotten used to thinking this is normal, but it's not.
It's not normal for the Ministry of the Interior, with conflicting interests in the election results, to be managing the votes of Spaniards. It's a very serious irregularity.
And it's important for Spaniards to understand that this is not normal.
The Spanish electoral system is one of the worst in the world and one of the most easily influenced. And that's why we have to congratulate the citizens who are taking matters into their own hands, right?
That's why we're here, so they become aware that they're being deceived no matter what they vote for.
We'll keep you informed, Gabriel Araujo, expert. Take care. Thank you.
A pleasure, as always. See you soon. Take care.
The Mi Seguros app has sponsored the editorial of Castillon Confidencial. Download Mi Seguros, the easiest and fastest way to manage all your insurance in one place.
We wanted to help our children build their future by taking out several loans. Then the pandemic hit, and we ended up depending on them and on our relatives.
If you are in a situation of insolvency, contact us and we will tell you if you meet the requirements of the Second Chance Law.
Sin Duda Group, your second chance.
Welcome to the world of Vichy Catalan, where authenticity and health go hand in hand. Here we know how to enjoy ourselves and also how to take care of ourselves. A place to make every moment unique and savor it intensely. Come visit us at the House of Sparkling Water, Vichy Catalan.
Yesterday, friends, we received more criticism of the Red Cross. Not because they shouldn't help. It's great that they help and give food to 4, 5, even 7,000 people every day.
That's not the reason.
It's because they weren't seen in Valencia with the same urgency as they've been seen in Ceuta. Or because they don't call the houses or apartments in Ceuta. If they have any needs, they're always focused on the same people. Well, I want you to see what someone sent me from the port of Algeciras.
Good morning, Albert. Well, here from Algeciras, the port of Algeciras. Here we see the little trucks of the Spanish Red Cross, and apparently with the intention of boarding for Ceuta. That is the entrance for the trucks going to Ceuta. Nothing. Number. I can't help you there.
I can't help. Mambo, help me.
So, I hope you're well, Albert, and thank you for always fighting for Spain.
Hugs. Hugs from a friend in Algeciras, Ayudita. Trucks, more trucks, whatever it takes. And do you remember the banners that the illegal immigrants were showing? How curious, right? Also written in Spanish. Well, NGOs also help them, make them, they provide the space and even write them. The immigrants just hold them up. It's as if they don't want the business to end. And forgive me, Manuel explains it. It's also confidential.
The propaganda, the use of such macabre and disgusting language. They're doing this with the Red Cross, saying it's a contribution for the families of Ceuta. The families of this car only want all these invaders to be sent away.
It couldn't be clearer. Well, they keep going. Let's see. Calling them a non governmental organization is outrageous. They receive so many hundreds of millions that it's a governmental organization, the Red Cross. Absolutely. Also, and I don't place people very close to the ruling party at the top, right? To lead exactly the way they want. The aid, well, it's there. The situation in Ceuta doesn't end, it doesn't stop. On the contrary, it increases. And yesterday we uploaded to the channel early in the afternoon a special in which we explained in more detail what plan they were negotiating. Is it Spain negotiating with Morocco, or rather Sanchez with Mohammed VI, or both governments? And from Ceuta, we have a lot of people eager to send messages. Let's listen to Ana, Manuel Alejandran, and Maria Jose. Look,
I was going to tell you about Ceuta, that my heart breaks seeing what's happening in Ceuta, and I know the same thing will happen in the Canary Islands. I ask all the citizens of Spain who want to defend the sovereignty of Ceuta, Melilla, and the Canary Islands, because they will be next, and also Andalusia. Please let all the people of Spain help everyone in Ceuta because they're having a hard time.
I believe that the referendum on Ceuta and Melilla involves three aspects. The first would be the handover of Ceuta and Melilla, which apparently has already been agreed upon since November 1975 when Juan Carlos I came to power. And that was the promise made with the United States, the US. So the sovereign people, we would decide if we want to give part of our nation to a foreign country. And then indirectly, it would be a judgment on the entire transition, on the whole 1978 system, because it all starts there with Franco's death. And the third point would be that civil society would expose all the parties and that we would take on the weight of such an important decision without the political parties being able to oppose it. Because that's what the constitution of Mr. Marcos de Quinto and his association says, standing firm, and so many people who work with him. It should be organized by the people who truly have reach in civil society.
I think the next passive entry will be in Melilla during the festivities. I think they're at the beginning of September. Since I did my military service there, my province matched, it coincided with mine.
Right now, the president of Ceuta is not only representing the people of Ceuta, he is representing all Spaniards. And I, as his constituent, would demand that he not receive even one more minister. But they come by every day, one after another, to laugh in his face. No, caballero, that's enough.
Well, maybe you're right, because that's enough. They're using him. It's true. The president of Ceuta seems like a very good person to me, and he shouldn't let himself be used. In Melilla, you already know they went out to the streets under the slogan, "Not one step back. United Spain will never be defeated." Any rallies? Attention, Sevilla, September 3rd. Yes, in support of Ceuta. Congratulations to Sevilla. They've been quick at 7:30 in the evening, when it will still be very hot. We will remind you there's also a rally at 8 o'clock at night on September 2nd in front of all the town halls in Spain. Let's see if it gains traction and momentum. It's being organized by many people, and there's also a march to Ceuta, though I don't know who's behind it, but I like any kind of rally. On August 28th, any initiative here, we will spread it so that it reaches as many people as possible. What do illegal immigrants ask for? besides having the NGOs read out the banners they write for them. Well, if Sanchez legalizes them, they will vote for him, and they say it very clearly.
Thank you very much, Pedro Sanchez, for helping 500,000 people, for helping with the paperwork. But a piece of advice, you have to grant citizenship. And after the paperwork, grant citizenship. And that's it. We can vote for Pedro Sanchez. Long life Pedro Sanchez. Long life Pedro Sanchez. I'm going to vote, and my fellow countrymen are going to vote. But nationality, Spanish nationality, quickly, so we can vote and help Pedro Sanchez's party win. Long live Pedro Sanchez.
That is to say, it's not enough for Morocco to blackmail the government of Spain and Sanchez, but now the invaders are blackmailing you too. How low you've fallen, Sanchez, please. But you realize that, right? If you legalize me, I'll vote for you. If not, what are you going to do? It's incredible. It's embarrassing. Yoli, our dear neighbor from Jeddah, explained it very well yesterday on this program.
This is a plan in which Morocco and Spain are united, working hand in hand.
How can you allow your border to be useless? Let's remove the border, because if you're not going to defend it, why do you want it? You stand by and do nothing. You don't send anyone. You allow all those people to come in, and then you sell out. Most of them have left, but we still have 11,000 left, and they're not the best that Morocco has to offer. We've been left with pedophiles, rapists, people wanted by Interpol. So much for security. It doesn't exist on our streets. And then the state, once it allows those people to enter, lets them move freely around our city.
Look, Jaime Ruiz has written to me from across the pond. He says the same thing happened in the United States with Tren de Aragua during the Biden administration. They infiltrated, went to strategic places in the United States and sowed chaos. We saw rapes, squatting, murders, assaults that we weren't used to in those cities. Well, there were gangs. That was part of the plan, just like now they're trying to start with Ceuta. The left creates chaos, anxiety, instability, and uncertainty. Look at this scene recorded on August 18th at 11 at night, showing some women in Ceuta.
Are you all going crazy? Isn't it strange, God?
You can see them all over the train. They see you and they feel afraid.
Yeah.
I mean, if they look at what's up there, the river is just disgusting.
This little glass.
No, I've already put it. Look to the right, look to the right, look to the right.
Can someone tell us where in the Quran it says you can drink alcohol or take drugs? Because we're seeing everything in Ceuta. Good Muslims wouldn't do that. About whether or not to defend ourselves from Morocco. Santos, Manuel, Ruben, and Pilar.
Let's see. Let's see what you think. If another government, obviously not Sanchez, managed to say, well, hey, since you send whoever you want to storm Ceuta, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to prohibit anything from leaving from the Pyrenees down and in Algeciras towards your country. A total and absolute blockade against Morocco. If you want a hybrid war, then here you go. The cable that brings them electricity through Algeciras, cut. You don't get any, nothing. I think Morocco loses 15 or 20. I think about 20% of the electricity it uses.
And in the Canary Islands territorial waters, Sol, around the year 2010 or so, billions were spent on the exploration phase, which is the most expensive to find oil, inexplicably, with the usual nonsense about climate change, blah, blah. The project was abandoned. And that oil that's in our waters, Spain's waters through the Canary Islands, is going to be exploited by Morocco. That's the deal.
Aging the country and the way to restructure it with people who are cheap to maintain, people who are easy to control, or at least that's what they want with religion. like the Muslims. This is what we have in this country for not being a little more eager for knowledge.
You can't say that Morocco invaded Ceuta because they opened the gates. Morocco can't open the Spanish border gate. They can open theirs, but not Spain's. The ones who opened the Ceuta gate to let in 100,000 ragged illegals was Spain. That's Pedro Sanchez. A civil guard officer can't just open the border because he feels like it. It's because he received orders from above and above and above.
It's clear, Pilar. Jose Angel knows Morocco and crime in Morocco very well, including how he gets beaten by the Moroccan police.
We are importing crime, and I'm focusing specifically on crime coming from Morocco, which is the one I have experienced up close, who are truly insane or completely reckless, right? I have seen police arrests for a simple theft by Moroccan Mohassenila, and I have witnessed severe beatings. They say, well, either they kill him, or in any case, they say, this guy, if they beat him like that in public, he won't make it out of the police station alive. For a habitual Moroccan criminal, Spain is paradise, including its prisons. They are a real public danger.
Thank you, my friend. Maite wishes to remain anonymous. She lives in the United States and has a proposal about this. Thank you.
We are watching with real astonishment what is happening in Ceuta, an invasion of that kind.
And well, here we are very used to handling weapons and being able to defend ourselves on our own.
I don't know if it would be reasonable right now to open the debate about protecting ourselves with weapons. And I only say this because since the government does nothing, there is complete inaction from the shameless president we have. Otherwise, the issue of weapons should be seriously discussed and considered.
It's not a bad idea, although the debate isn't going to happen here. I mean, if they see you with a taser, they'll take you to the police station. All the pepper sprays, homemade tasers, knives, all of that is sold out in Ceuta and Melilla. There aren't any left. And they're even buying online, but they don't get here easily. They have to come by ferry from Algeciras. Of course, people are protecting themselves.
Images like this one you're about to see, a street fight every day. This is also common among them.
They can't stop acting like this. And one criticism someone should raise is that almost 20 days have passed. Where are the environmentalists? I want you to see what the beach in Ceuta looks like. It's full of trash. They're using it as a dump, as a bathroom. Well, and the seabed too. Look at the border area. Where is the buoy? Look, you can see it under the water. It's all plastic. Can anyone raise their voice and demand that ecologically Morocco also pays the bill to clean all that up? Right? Of course not. Here, it's always the same people who pay. Helen Martin says in a message she sent me, we're immersed in a counter-revolution. It's not just Sanchez. There are underlying higher powers that control the country, and Spain, maybe Israel and the United States are really pulling the strings. It's like a hybrid war, also a spiritual one. This is a plan, and the final goal, Albertes, as my friend Helen says, is to Islamize all of Europe. Someone was gone to Ceuta to give help without asking for anything in return and without receiving money, not like the NGOs, is Juan Roig from Mercadona, who is always criticized, and Ione Belarra, Irene Montero, they call him all sorts of things. Well, he has been helping all the Mercadona workers in Ceuta. He has met with the president of the autonomous city, and he'll provide whatever they need. And by the way, the civil guard tells us that swimmers are still coming in through the area from the Tarajal border, from Tarajal Beach, swimming in every day. And they have demanded 200 more people to protect the place, but they haven't arrived. Gentlemen, even the judges in Ceuta have said that there is a sexual assault every day, one every day, and they are asking for help.
Meanwhile, what does the tyrant Pedro Sanchez do? Well, look, he's seeing his parents off.
who have left La Mareta for Madrid after staying there, living the high life with an official driver, with security, with a waiter. If you've seen any images of the waiter serving a drink, a beverage to Sanchez's father, like kings, they live like kings. And who accompanies him at La Mareta, besides his close business friend, Jesus Calleja? Well, accompanying him is, cheers, Salvadorilla. He never fails, Salvadorilla. They're watching jogging. Okay, every day they're catching everyone who comes in and out of La Mareta.
And it's very good that they do it, because that way we know what should be public. If they're there spending our money, why should it be hidden, right?
For them to greet at the door, wouldn't that be logical instead of accusing, hiding, and threatening? Everything has to be done in secret. What could they be doing that makes them not want us to know what they're doing, right? Well, surely nothing good. Allow me, about Sanchez, many messages and not very kind ones. Maria, Diego, Fernanda, Mar, Juan B. Fernandez.
If Sanchez's mother doesn't tell him that he's doing wrong and that he has to stop and that he has to help people, then that mother is like Sanchez, and that's why Sanchez is the way he is. It must be that the whole family has a criminal and completely selfish mentality. And of course, they hate Spain. Watch the video.
I think it's time for all Spaniards to realize that having a president who abandons Spanish citizens in such a critical situation where many of them are risking their lives, if they go out into the street and find themselves surrounded by these immigrants and iragaris, you never know what could happen. All Spaniards need to realize that what we have is a real criminal who threatens the lives of his own citizens. He doesn't protect them.
Regarding the blackmail of Sanchez over Pegasus, I'm honestly a little tired of hearing about that topic. Everyone justifies it because of Pegasus. Look, you can be blackmailed, but if that president has what it takes, he bows his head and says, fine, I've been caught, I'll call elections, but I'm not going to betray my people or my country. And that's what Sanchez is doing. He's betraying all of us just to save himself.
I get the feeling that he caused this. Pedro Sanchez, the thing with Ceuta, the people from Ceuta, together with Morocco, so that we spend the whole month of August talking about Ceuta.
And not about his brother, his wife, all the riffraff he has behind him. And so that by September people have cleared their minds of his stuff, and we keep talking about Ceuta, and he comes back as if nothing ever happened.
I don't think Sanchez, despite everything, is cunning, but I don't think he's smart enough, because psychopathy has its limits. The psychopathy of his advisors, over 800 of them, who fight for their salaries, that's for sure. They're possessed by the devil, evil, they're evil. He's not capable, he doesn't have enough mental capacity to come up with so many ideas and so much evil. He falls way short. But it's his advisors who are advising him.
With each passing day, I feel increasingly disaffected, and I also feel a deep disappointment with this government we have, which is completely out of touch with reality. And even more so when you know and talk to people there in Ceuta, including healthcare workers, about what's really happening.
Thank you, friends. We must not let our guard down. We have to keep up the pressure. We have to explain what you are telling me, because most of the media are not reporting it. It's very important, especially for the people who are in the area, those who have been there, those who have experience in what they're talking about. For example, they tell me that on Trampoline Beach, they built an improvised mosque on the ground using Tetra brick cartons. You can see it. They send me the photograph. How long will it take, if they really end up being the majority of the population in Ceuta, to build a tall stone one? How long? Hours or minutes? You'll see. Just wait. And speaking of constructions, take a look at this beautiful place in Estella, in Navarre. This is the Santo Domingo residence in Estella, a building from the 13th century. Well, Maria Chivite, the president of Navarre, wants to house unaccompanied minors there. The problem is, it's a nursing home, and there are 65 elderly people. They want to remove them from there to put those unaccompanied minors in their place. A petition has been launched on Citizen.
We also have it on our website, castellonconfidencial.com. If you want to help stop those elderly people from being moved from that nursing home in Estella, you just have to sign.
It's curious because they want to put unaccompanied minors there, but part of the building used to be a convent. There's already a chapel there, there's a church. I don't know if it's legal for them to do that. Of course, it's definitely a bit immoral. Those who support Sanchez in everything keep living like kings. They'll never have any trouble. For example, the board members of RTV. We've received some shocking information. Look, in the last 2 years, the employees of the public entity, on average, have had their salaries reduced, the real salary, the one they actually receive.
The board members have increased theirs by 20 times. They've multiplied what they earn by 20. Do you remember Angelica Rubio? She used to spend all day on La Sexta supporting Sanchez. Naturally, Sanchez ended up there with a nice position.
133,000 a year, more than 10,000 a month, just for meeting a couple of times and saying, let Broncano come, and chorrando. That's all they talk about. Rosa Leon, do you remember Rosa Leon? She was a protest singer. Her sister Eva was a friend of mine, and she sang very well. It's a shame to end up like this, Rosa. It's a shame to end up living off our money in a position where I don't understand what you're doing there.
133,000 a year, and Jose Pablo Lopez, the number one, the general director, 164,000.
Spanish television is a bottomless pit. It has multiplied its bosses' salaries by 20. It costs us 1.2 billion a year, and 500 million is for salaries. You are the ones paying. For what? To manipulate public opinion, to do favors for Pedro Sanchez. That they know how to do well. Well, you know, there's also a television channel that will soon launch. We call it Telepedro because that's where everyone who isn't wanted by Spanish television will be, or they'll do double duty. And the owner of Balearia is one of the people financing it. Adolfo Utor,
friend of Sanchez, a staunch socialist.
Okay, Diario reports that, well, one of the things he has done is give his staff precarious contracts. Base salary, 687 euros. Overtime, 468 bonuses and allowances. You reach the minimum wage, 1,400. But that's not how it works. You should be paid the minimum wage and all the bonuses on top of it. Well, he does it the other way around. For example, every overtime hour for the workers, for the hospitality assistant at Balearia, each hour cost them 4.5 euros. Yolanda Diaz already knows this. I'll tell you more in a minute. Don't go away.
Castillón Confidencial by Albert Castillón.
Completely trustworthy.
Let's go to the newsroom. There are more messages. Susanna Gas, tell us.
We're still here, Albert, in the Castillón Confidencial newsroom, receiving lots of messages and opinions this summer from all our insiders, which, of course, we keep reading day by day. The world says that we have a traitor presiding over the government of Spain and a coward as king, poor Spain and poor us, Cristina says, I am very sorry about what is happening in Ceuta. It's very worrying. The passivity of the government and also of society if we stop to think that it only acts at the urging of forces that are not always honest and are often manipulated. Paco says that what these people from Morocco really want is for them to leave and abandon the city. I hope this can't happen, and I hope the government gets its act together. Jose Luis says that Sanchez has so much money to support the immigrants who come in, so much money they really have, which they don't, for young Spaniards to be able to access decent housing. And obviously, we also have needs, and we don't even have a euro. Pilar says it seemed like Mila couldn't sink any lower, but yes, she has when she started hosting that Big Brother show. But I see that she's fallen even lower now and is being manipulated by Pedro Sanchez. Money is money. Gabriel says that Sanchez doesn't have friends. What Sanchez does is buy people so they'll support him. And when he doesn't have Spanish people's money to buy people, those who say they're his friends will all disappear. Like always, money attracts money. Larry says that while the police officers are sleeping on the floor and eating a yogurt and an apple, we pay 50% of what we earn. And that's with us getting up at 6 in the morning and having to pay all these people. That's the truth. We have to pay all these people and those who come from outside. Clearly, and I'd even say they eat better than the police officers. Anna says that it's the same for us in Brazil, unfortunately, and I'm writing to you from there. Efimero says it's clear that Sanchez's government plan was to entrench the situation. It is, and that's the intention there, to create with those tents a permanent invasion to make life impossible for those at the CIS and to distress all honorable Spaniards. That was the objective, and that's what the government is putting all its effort into. I wish they would put that effort into other things and come to help us instead of bothering all these good, hardworking people. We'll leave it here for now. It's really important that all those people who are joining us, and there are many who are getting to know us, that they can check our channels and also that digital newspaper, CastilloConfidencial.com, so they can stay well informed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Susana. There they are, and at www.castillonconfidencial.com, you'll find our online store, so you can get any merchandise item, and we'll be delighted. Juan Manuel sent me this, which is very interesting. He says, socialism is not equality, it's the revenge of the mediocre against the capable. It doesn't seek to elevate people, it seeks to bring down those who dare to succeed on their own. I agree. That's how it is. By the way, Calleja, I'll keep talking about Jesus Calleja because ever since we talked yesterday about his contracts with Mercedes Mila, from Televisión Española, I'm receiving a lot of information, and what's happening on Spanish television is just small potatoes. We're not talking about 10 million. We're talking about hundreds of millions under Sanchez's umbrella. They've made a lot of jokes about him. For example, there's one. Enrique sent it to me, where Sanchez is walking Calleja on a leash like a little dog, and Salvadorilla on another leash.
Listen, Galgo, the leash is too tight. Shut up, man. We're just bootlickers and we put up with it.
This lobster is delicious. Yeah, and the wine is perfect.
It's outrageous. Or Calleja, crowned royal jester of the satrap. There you see the image. This very funny puppet is Calleja.
Well, I've received criticism from some sectors of society for going on vacation for a few days with my beloved and precious leader Pedro Sanchez, just for the simple fact of enjoying a few days in a luxurious mansion with staff and paid for with your taxes. Pedro Sanchez isn't worried about what's happening in Ceuta. Pedro Sanchez is here to have fun and enjoy himself while the people of Ceuta are scared and the state security forces are overwhelmed. Given the situation in Ceuta, besides, why would he worry if he already has the vote rigging ready for next year? And on top of that, he has thousands of carros and...
Well, and the ones who also have something to say about the government and its poor handling of Ceuta are my friends, Los Meconios. Pilar sent it to me. Damn, Sergio.
Have you seen this, Quince?
Dude, 15. Where's the sign-holding feminist? Because she's denouncing this barbarity.
Give me the intro. Dear Irene, dear Caros, why don't you say a word? To criticize El Chocas, you go all out. But for this, not a word.
This one is silent, the other one is silent. And where is Azazu?
For a little kiss they make a fuss, but about Ceuta, not a word.
Yes, a rape, a sexual assault every day, and the feminists stay silent. The sea is flooded with trash. The environmentalists stay silent. Well, that's how it is, gentlemen. It depends, right? Everything depends on the orders from whoever pays, and the one who pays is in Moncloa. Well, that's you and me. A very special gift to Mohammed VI, given by Torrente, Recio, and Mauricio Colmenero.
We bring you a gift, Your Majesty Mohammed VI, from our great President Pedro Sanchez. I'm sure he'll give me Ceuta and Melilla as a gift.
Open the box and yagzara. A pig, and Muhammad goes crazy. Of course, and they run away. They're troublemakers, but very well liked. Sanchez with Marlaska ankle sentencing. Marlaska is lying down, sunbathing with a cocktail, and they come up with a solution for Ceuta.
Marlaska, there are still immigrants in Ceuta. What do we do? Wait. Wait for what? For them to get tired of waiting. Have you talked to them?
Yes. And what did they say to you?
That they're not in a hurry either.
My God, and the worst part is that maybe something very similar to this has actually happened. Well, and to finish, Marta, what you sent me really made me laugh. She says, there's so much Spanish money in Switzerland that Ricola is going to release a candy. Yes, a candy dedicated to Spain with chorizo flavor. I leave it at that. We might even see it happen. Friends, I'll see you here again tomorrow in the trench. Together in August.
Thank you. From the trench, the bullets whistle and there's no way to get out there. Yeah, freedom has wings of wax. When I see Castellon, Susanna gas. You girls are die and the rest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Castellon Confidential by Albert Castellon.